Hi. Today I want to come on and talk to you about what we are seeing happen in our collective psyche. We are watching three systems destabilize simultaneously. This is material certainty, authority trust, and identity restructure. Globally, we are seeing this in the precariousness of our economic situations, distrust in our institutional systems, rapid technological change, information overload, the climate and geopolitical uncertainty, and social fragmentation with digital hyperconnection. We have seen this before in the past. We have had similar periods of this kind of reorganization in the late Roman transition, the early Industrial Revolution, post-World War reorganizations, and early Internet era acceleration. This isn't an apocalypse, it's a recalibration. Okay? We're being called to look at where we have outsourced our stability to systems. For example, we used our careers as identities. Institutions were authorities. We used our productivity to determine our worth, and independence was viewed as maturity. These structures are now visibly unstable and unreliable. We have massive trust issues with a lot of these that we have attached ourselves to. We are renegotiating what competence and adulthood looks like, and we are seeing this on a massive scale. We're also being called to realize that collective shifts do not move everyone at once upwards. Some respond by increasing their rigidity, blaming outsiders, clinging to the dominance hierarchies that they came to depend on, and seeking authoritarian certainty. Right? The old identities do not dissolve easily. The ego is, one of its primary functions is to maintain safety through what is familiar. Okay, so those who have not done the inner work, the individuation, are now going to be really clinging to these outmoded systems because they still have their identity attached in them. Right? So we don't want to be hard on them, just recognize and realize that that is what is happening. Let other people's actions and character reveal itself in their choices, and then let them have it. Let them have it. We're all here to learn. Let them have it. Others respond by increasing their adaptability. They increase their relational intelligence. There's more psychological integration and cooperative resilience, people coming together against the divisive messages that are being sold by these larger narratives. Okay, so instead of choosing to let these larger narratives of these old structures continue to divide us, we choose to come together instead. We either update or we defend the old map harder. We are seeing the dissolution of the myth of the fully self-sufficient individual under these modern conditions. There's the collapse of competence as worth. And it feels like walking through a forest without landmarks. It's a species relearning interdependence after a long experiment with isolation disguised as strength. Right? I mentioned the forest narrative yesterday, the forest analogy yesterday. We're seeing a shift in our memory, how we are viewing things, the old scripts, and recalibrating with the truth. Okay, so to get back to the forest, we are moving in the forest from hyper-independence to cooperative survival. And this is the way humans actually evolved to live. Remember that this is why you came here. Everything that is happening right now, this is why you came here. To be a part of this transition and change, and to have a voice in it, to make choices through it that help guide humanity in the direction towards the greatest good and highest potential. Truth is in every step of the way. We are being clarified by fire, water, and earth. Okay, earth is those stability structures, our foundations, represented by the bone within our body. The fire is the cleansing, the purification, those big alarming things that are just scorched right out of our reality. The purging, right? And we see this happening in the world literally right now. But we're also being cleansed by water. And the water and the fire are cooperating so that we aren't consumed by a wildfire nor drowned by the water. And the water represents our emotional responses or reactions. Okay? Our fire is our passion and our movement, what drives us forward. Okay? And so instead of being a wildfire and being pushed into urgency, can we be more of a hearth fire? Can we provide our own fire a container that allows it to burn in welcome for others? Or will we allow it to turn into a wildfire that consumes all that we care about? And the water helps us do that by tapping into the depths of our psyche. You know, the ocean represents the vast depths of our subconscious. Not everyone is getting thrown in the ocean. Some of them are swimming in a lake, okay, so that they can practice. Some of us are in rivers. But the fire and water are balancing each other out. So always touch in, okay? We are experiencing a constant embrace and letting go at the same time. So always evaluating what we are clinging to and instead embracing change and letting go of what must go. This leads to a conscious refinement to integrate new identities. And that's why we're having so much alarm, is because a lot of this is scraping off of old identities. An ego doesn't let go of identity easily. It screams and cries about it the whole way. So right now there is a stressing of the importance of coherence and integrity within yourself, within the individual. Remember that everything has already been created. This is by design, plan. Nature runs in cycles. We have been here before historically. So we're at a point where we have to forgive our past and retrieve love, wisdom, and discernment and joy to carry this forward into our relationships with others. Are you going to feed the division, or are we going to learn to co-regulate and cooperate? And relationship is our connection to the unifying field. It isn't just with other people. It is how we are relating to our experience with life itself, with experience itself. We are here in relation with everything around us, our physical reality, all other living things around us. So we're coming into an awareness of that. And are we going to bring joy, love, all these things into it, okay, and proceed with wisdom? We're in already the Virgo eclipse energies that show us what is not aligned and where the dead energies are still present. For example, for myself, this is around beliefs stemming from the parentified daughter archetype, which are around safety and security. And how need equates to safety or unsafety for me, right? Like the message for me was always, if I have a need, then I am a burden. It is a shame. And it brought conflict to me to have a need versus safety and security and support. So those are, like, personally for me, ones that are really being addressed. Mercury in its retrograde is offering us the opportunity to purify our mind, looking at our self-talk, eliminating these false programming and belief structures that promoted self-punishment and personal aggression. Again, when I am looking at my parentified daughter paradigms, this is how am I shaming myself for having needs, right? Like my car broke down yesterday, so that's a mechanical failure. That wasn't something I did myself, so am I shaming myself for that need? Those kinds of things. Remembering and learning through this as we are addressing how we talk to ourselves, that we are compassionate channels of divine love. So being able to reframe those stories in our mind from whatever wounds or biases are getting triggered. Our reticular activating system is pre-programmed and conditioned and biased. That is what is filtering everything that is coming in into our system, right? The parasympathetic nervous system: rest, digest, eliminate. So evaluate your self-talk. How are you talking to yourself? Is it fear-based, doubt-based, or love-based? And then reframing it back to self-loving statements, other loving statements. Inject love back into your mental space. We are observing structural changes that continue removing what is not pure from our body, our mind, and our lives. The eclipse brings to the surface all that we hide, our fears and our doubts. So remember, in moments of confusion, when you don't know what to do or how to act, act as if God is with you. Act as God will act and realign to love, joy, and personal power in order to come back to who you are. Remember that all is well, though you may not see it yet. All is in divine order and timing. And this brings me to Sodom and Gomorrah, which I have had on my mind for months. For months, I have been talking about Sodom and Gomorrah coming to people around me. And now I look at what is going on and I see how that is playing in. But with Sodom and Gomorrah, we look at Lot's wife. And Lot's wife looked back. She looked at the old ways, the programming, the falling structures, the conditioning, the tribalism based on time periods that we no longer live in. And she became a pillar of salt, which is that fixed mindset, that fixed identity. So this is going back to how some people respond by increasing their rigidity, blaming outsiders, and clinging to the old hierarchies and authoritarianism. Okay. So watch for the energies of Lot's wife within you. Where are you being fixed in your thinking and your mindset? And is it serving you? Will it continue to serve your vision for the future? Are we going to choose tribalism or becoming? There's a vibration of 3 in March, which is expression, emergence, and visibility, movement, and outward momentum. We're being invited into greater alignment of the body, mind, and soul. So I couldn't read my own handwriting. We have an invitation to greater alignment of body, mind, and soul. So act and rise from coherence. The body is still learning to trust, so treat it with hope and tenderness. Note even those brief moments of clearer energies, stronger inner direction, desire to simplify, the feelings of quietness and readiness. These will be coming in waves, so note them, watch them where they feel in your body. We're at the end of a corridor and a beginning of clear embodiment. Many of us are learning how to stand in our presence, in our truth, in our joy, and in our alignment with our values and guiding principles. And the more we can embody those guiding principles and values within us, live in them, the greater our outcomes for what we are seeing are going to be collectively. It begins within and then ripples out through your connections. What I do inwardly, I do for the public. What I do outwardly, I do for myself. So this is bringing us to clearer discernment, clearer choices, stronger self-trust, steadier connection to our own signal and intuition. We're going to hear a lot of noise about what is going on around us, and we have to learn and are learning how to trust our own inner signal. Let it open you, not overwhelm you. And overwhelm happens when perceived demand exceeds perceived agency, where what is coming at you feels like more than what you have capability for internal. Restoring the agency, calling us to restore these agency signals. Overwhelm collapses the prefrontal cortex. It shuts down your processing. We reverse this through shrinking reality into units the brain can metabolize. So meet what rises. Do not project yourself into the future and push choices now. Slow down. Take things in bite-sized chunks. Make the next right choice as it comes before you. And this will help prevent your overwhelm. One controllable action at a time, one calculated risk at a time. We are learning that connection replaces isolation. So here's how we prevent this overwhelm and how we can look at our world around us. 1, name your reality accurately. 2, externalize solvable problems. Don't treat them as personal judgments or assessments of your worth. Don't shame yourself for these things. And then stay relational, not solitary. Look at where you are living the belief that love must be paid for with competence or endurance. Where does this update feel like grief, relief, and disorientation? This feeds the overwhelm, and you can combat it by updating the equation. Problem, connection, shared solution, and retain dignity. That is the new equation we are forming. The big questions in these energies, and then I'll get off, are, where did I put them? If you draw your sense of safety from outside yourself, you'll forever be defending yourself from the outside world. Oh, I went the wrong way. That was the wrong page. That was yesterday's message. That wasn't a question. The most important questions right now is whether individuals can tolerate receiving support long enough for a new identity to form around cooperation rather than endurance. So watch for that in your life. Ask yourself, what am I organizing my life around that is no longer actually keeping me safe? What can I release that I only kept in order to feel legitimate? What small way can I participate instead of brace? Where am I exhausting myself, maintaining an identity built for a world that no longer exists? And remember that we are cultivating truth within ourselves. Answering these questions will help you reshape the narratives, the programs, the conditioning that you have been fed, and will help arm you with discernment against the narratives that are being formed around you, so that you are not blindly following a dying paradigm, but you are stepping boldly and courageously with self-trust into a new world order that is based on love, truth, and joy. You didn't go through all of this individuation, all of this shadow work within yourself to run back to fear and doubt in this time period. There is a reason that we are being called into visibility right now. And that is because our voices need to be heard. An example of this is with what is going on in Iran. Before us as Americans put out opinions on it, because we aren't in Iran, look at what the Iranian people themselves are saying, the average, ordinary people who are just like you, who have been living in that paradigm. Listen to their stories. Look at how they are reclaiming their truth. And reflect that into your own world and see where you are holding narratives that just aren't true. Where are you being asked to let go of ideas that no longer serve you? The old paradigms are dying. Where are you called to step forward and live purposefully now in a truth and an identity that still feels unestablished? We are walking into the forest without landmarks, but remember that the forest, unlike a desert, is fully resourced. Everything you need exists in the forest. So do you trust yourself? Or did you do all of that shadow work just to run back to the old ways that weren't working? That's what I have. I love you. I send you love and healing energy.